Treating shingles can be super difficult. In today's video, I'm going to go through my top recommendations for how to utilize Moxa in a shingles outbreak, especially in the acute stage. So stay tuned, you're not going to want to miss it. P.S. It's utilizing a type of Moxa that you definitely learned in school. Do you feel that you love utilizing Moxa and that it's super effective in your treatment, but still struggle to be really confident about when and what and how to use the Moxa in your current practice? If so, you're going to want to chat with me and see if ShinKyu University is a good fit to help bridge your practice between where you are right now to being truly confident with not only your moxibustion, but also palpation, acupuncture, shonishin, and so much more. There's a link for that discussion in the description box below. Please choose a time that works for you. I would love to talk to you about what's getting in the way for your practice. So my name is Suzuki. If you're new here to this channel, thank you so much for joining me. For those who have been here for a while, you know that I absolutely love moxibustion. It is so much fun and I get so much joy from doing it. I've always loved it from the very beginning of my practice when I first started as just an assistant at Acura Acupuncture Clinic, even before getting into my Japanese acupuncture school, ShinKyu University. And while I was studying, or I should say observing at Acura Acupuncture Clinic, one of the things that I was allowed to do once I passed a proficiency test with the head of the clinic, Dr. Joe, shout out, you're amazing, was being able to do half-grain moxa on Dr. Joe. So I studied every single night, got assistance and teaching from the other assistants in the clinic to help learn how to do a half-grain moxa practice, and eventually worked my way to not just being a free toilet scrubber in the clinic, but actually getting a normal everyday salary in the clinic, and also having support from that clinic to help me get into acupuncture school in Japan. I am so indebted not only to Acura Acupuncture Clinic for all the help that they have done in order to get me to this point, but also to everybody else along the way, from the assistants in the clinic, Dr. Joe, as I've already mentioned, and then everybody else at ShinKyu University, and of course my current teacher Yasuda Sensei and everyone in Yashinomichi. Thank you so much, you rock. All right, let's get into Moxa. Now, when you have an acute shingles outbreak, the unfortunate thing that happens is it's very, very hot and itchy and painful, especially until those wounds, that shingle scabs over. And so a lot of times people really struggle on how to treat that shingle without causing more pain. Now, ideally in those situations, really you would want to bleed that area, or in and around that area, do some very hot dispersive moxa. But the problem is you're going to make that shingle pain worse, not only by touching the area around the shingle, but of course on the shingle. So most of the time we're just taught in our education, at least that I've been privy to here in the West, to leave the shingle alone and do a root treatment or a balancing treatment and allow it to heal. There is a better way. So that better way is, to use pole moxa. Now, pole moxa is, for those of you who know me, not something that I absolutely love. Now these are little teeny poles. You're probably like, wow, that's really thin. These ones I get from Kobayashi Ryoho. They have a lot less smell than the ones that you get from China. So I prefer these. They're made with a higher grade of moxa. But I usually don't really utilize stick moxa in my practice because stick moxa tends to be super stinky. It gives off a lot of smell. It's very smoky, right? And it's just really not as effective as half-grain moxa or even stick-on moxa, really. The problem in this situation with shingles is that you cannot touch the skin. And at the same time, it's very hot and itchy. And so you're like, well, why then, Maya, would you want to use heat to combat heat? Well, the issue here really is a little bit counterintuitive in that the shingle is actually a place of deficiency that is showing up on the body. You think about it, you have this open wound, and it's very, very hot and itchy, which makes it open and vent out, and at the same time, it's a deficiency. So by using your stick moxa, and you actually want to use it until it feels just a touch hot, so you usually hold 1, 2, 3, take away, hold 1, 2, 3, take away. And then actually what that does is help to calm down the heat and the rash, so the actual visible redness from the shingle outbreak along that nerve line, and it takes away the pain. Like, no joke, it takes away the pain. And then it allows you to do something along that nerve line, like bloodletting, to actually get at the root of what's happening with that particular shingle outbreak for the acute stage. Now, I want to show you a few little tricks about how to use stick moxa because I've seen a lot of people using it in a little bit of a dangerous way. And so I always want to make sure that in your clinic, you're being super safe with your clients. Now, before we go any further, I would love to know what kind of moxa you currently use in your practice. Let me know in the description box below. All right, so let's get into my tips and tricks for using stick moxa safely. Now, as I said before, barely ever use stick moxa in my practice. However, shingles is like the one time that I'm like, hands down, every time use stick moxa in that acute painful stage. So what we're going to do is we're going to make sure, you can see this is one that I just used actually on a patient who has shingles. We're going to want to hold it really close to the tip of that moxa stick. And then I'm going to actually pull my fingers back and put my pinky down. So what that allows me to do is, obviously this isn't lit right now for the sake, but no matter what I would do, my pinky is always going to touch the client before my stick moxa does touch the client. And so I'm going to even close my eyes to prove my point. I can move my hand around, I can bump, I can do all these weird things. The stick will never, the cherry will never touch the skin. So there's a lot of positive things about this. One, you're not going to ever burn your client, obviously, which is a huge positive. Another positive is that when your stick moxa is too close, in particular with shingles, but in other situations too, it can feel super hot from that radiated heat. And so this makes sure that you have that nice distance of about an inch, inch and a half away from your client. Now notice to do this, I'm actually pulling up my index and thumb, just like that. So that way my index and thumb are nice and bent up, my pinky is nice and straight. It's probably the only time I will ever tell you to put stress in your pinky. So yeah, it's super easy. And then when you're treating that shingle, you're going to go at the actual place that they're having the shingle. Let's say that's right here for me. I'm going to go ahead and do a small circle. Now, for those of you who are in the TCM world here in the US, we have 3 techniques that they will test you on NCCOM. Those are lifting and thrusting, spreading and rotating, and sparrow pecking. Now, in all reality, those are kind of intermixed as you use stick moxa wherever you use it. It's very rare that you need to do sparrow pecking in this situation. So for a shingle, I tend to do a little bit of rotating with the tip of the stick moxa at the actual, right above the actual shingle. Now, one other thing though, notice my pinky is touching my skin here. With a shingle outbreak, I would probably not be able to touch right next to even the shingle. So you're going to want to hover your pinky just a little bit. So that way, just in case you never get too close to the client. And every 2 or 3 seconds, you want to rotate your hand. You can see me rotating my hand out. And that allows this area to not get too hot. Now, there are so many other things that come into play when really taking away and downgrading a shingles outbreak or any viral or bacterial infection for that matter that we can do with our acupuncture and our moxibustion, and so many other tools that we can use. This is one particular situation and one specific tool to use in one specific situation. If you're really interested and excited to learn about those other situations, and if you are ready, if you're that person that you're like, I am ready to feel super confident in any situation that presents in front of me with my traditional Japanese medicine, then I would love to talk to you. Again, there is a link in the description box below so we can chat about what's getting in the way of your practice to be truly bridged between TCM and traditional Japanese medicine. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end of this video. If this video was truly of benefit to you, I would love it if you like, subscribe, and hit the little bell to be notified of future videos coming out all about traditional Japanese medicine. Also, please share this video with other acupuncturists whose practice might benefit from this video. Now, if you're still wanting to learn more about moxibustion, don't worry, I got you covered. You're going to want to watch this video right over here.